Senator?
Chair, maybe Governor, on the issue of interdiction and administration of administrative action, or if maybe let's say payroll manager is interdicted for 1 year or 6 months, one, how many officers you have interdicted, and then number two, what is their fate when they resume? Because maybe they were the payroll manager, they were in charge of human resource. What happens when they come back after 6 months interdiction or so many months? Give us a picture, because there must be a reason as to why they were interdicted. And then if they created that mess with the payroll, what becomes of it if they come back to the same department? So how many officers were interdicted, and what is the fate of these interdictees? Because I know the process of firing somebody is always complicated because of the labor process and what have you. Now that you are waiting for the other criminal accountability mechanisms to be done, what is the fate of these officers who have been interdicted that created a mess with the payroll? Chair, I yield back the mic.
My last question, maybe.
Okay, Senator Bruno.
Last question. Governor, you're saying that your government is employing, and you know in the certificate, page 6, the auditor has made a finding that there's breach of law in failure to observe ethnic balance and staff composition. And this is a pet subject for Senator Cherargei, that when a county is employing, then we need the face of Kenya. So are you mitigating on this finding to make sure that Nandi County staff then has the face of Kenya?
Okay, as you respond, there was a number we had asked for, which perhaps does not even need to be submitted in future. You have just closed your financial year. I think your officers could have a picture on how much have you spent on compensation of employees in 25-26 compared with 24-25. Just a rough estimate. You can look up the numbers as the governor responds to the other questions, because we want to see the impact, whether it's translating into financial benefits, or we are just going around, musical chairs. Governor.
So my team will give me the figure there, but in terms of those who are interdicted, the procedure is that once somebody is implicated and that the matter has been taken up by the investigative authorities, to provide the affected or the culprit is interdicted, until that process is clear and the person has been cleared, he will remain interdicted. So it's a human resource process. It remains interdicted until when cleared. If they are not cleared, then the consequences of termination, dismissal, even possible further criminal, processes against them then continue. So for us, those who are interdicted and those officers who are central to this serious crisis, are under investigation. For the Public Service Board, this was happening under the previous Public Service Board. So their term, ended, but they are still subject of investigation by EACC, and I'm sure they are part, a number of those members of the Public Service Board are actually subject of those criminal investigations that are ongoing. So really, any of the officers who are involved are currently facing those processes and the accountability processes through EACC and DCI and the others.
So that indicts the County Public Service Board. Do you have an audit committee currently?
Yes, we do.
Because in this report, there were issues with regards to internal audits. And because if you had a functional audit committee, internal audit processes, then some of those issues could be flagged early. You don't have to wait, to resolve 1,800 people. So, but you didn't come along with the chair of audit committee.
So he had been invited, he was not able to come.
But there's a substantive audit committee,
and
there's an internal auditor.
Yes.
Have they done the internal audit charter?
Yes, they have.
Okay, so Auditor General, you'll test that when you go to the ground. Now, members, there are many issues on HR. I don't know whether they got the numbers. If you haven't gotten the numbers, then we might want to get those numbers at our next meeting or at the next substantive audit. We have not addressed ourselves to the issues of projects because we spend too much time on financial reports, which we have come to a conclusion that there are serious misstatements and inaccuracies. There are projects in this report.
Chair, maybe before we move to projects, what about this payment of salaries outside human resource integrated system? It's a substantive material figure, 155,541,525 million. That is number 5 on page 7. And then on projects, because I know you had agreed because of another meeting you have for tomorrow's entities, if the committee will find it magnanimous, we can...
So is it possible that I propose we end it here and maybe give the governor opportunity to appear to another time to look at ROR and the
projects?
There are so many issues that are before us.
So many issues.
So, Chair, can I request that if we have to end it with number 5 on salaries outside human resource integrated system, then if the committee, because the people of Nandi really want to know how projects are, their status, when are they going to be completed, whether they have been completed, and also I would be very keen on receiver of revenue because I know the revenue potential of Nandi should be 1.4 billion. As by the CRA, would really want to know how the 18 revenue streams that are in Nandi are doing. So, Chair, maybe if committee finds it, we can look at this human resource because it's a very serious issue in the projects.
I think I take your proposal. Let's look at the payment of salaries outside HRIS, and then we'll take a view on the remaining issues on whether to invite the governor or whether we go to Nandi or whether to push the matters to the next audit cycle. But whatever the case, owing to the serious issues of misstatement and inaccuracies in financial statements, it would be important that we have another session with the governor so that those numbers that were not explained to the auditor and the numbers that have not been substantiated in this meeting, we can get a firm grip on them. So, Auditor General, read your finding under payment of salaries outside HRIS.
Thank you, Chair. Payment of salaries outside human resource integrated system. The statement of financial performance reflects employee cost amount of Kenya shillings 3,372,701,751 Kenya shillings as disclosed in Note 9 to the financial statements. However, review of records revealed that the county executive uses both HRIS and manual Excel sheets in processing of payroll. The total employee cost paid outside HRIS was Kenya shillings 155,541,525 Kenya shillings, made up of manual payroll of Kenya shillings 85,202,776 Kenya shillings, and casual payroll of Kenya shillings 70,338,749 Kenya shillings. This was contrary to Section 1.5.1 of the Treasury Guidelines through the Financial Accounting Recording and Reporting Manual, which requires that each county government department is responsible for populating the IPPD with the information contained in these documents, issuing each appointee with a unique payroll number from the system and providing the appointee with a letter of appointment. In the circumstances, management was in breach of the law. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, your response and the page number.
The employees who were paid outside...
Page number for avoidance of doubt?
Page 16.
Okay, proceed.
Employees who are paid outside the HRIS Kenya system are those who are still awaiting personal numbers to be processed since the request has been made and forwarded to the Directorate of Personnel Management, DPSM. Immediately the payroll numbers are received, they are moved from manual payroll to the human resource information system, payroll system. According to the circular of the circular dated 20th of December 2019, the Ministry of Public Service in January 2020 rolled out a new system to facilitate in allocation and activation of payroll numbers, which delayed the allocation of these numbers. It is noted that as at 30th of June 2025, the staff on the manual payroll had not been incorporated into the system, and therefore the management is working towards achieving full transition of the staff to the HRI's system and ensure that all payroll data is managed through the system and adhere to the guidelines of the public service. The county payroll unit has forwarded requests for processing of the payroll numbers for all the staff who were being paid outside the payroll system, outside the payroll, to the Directorate of Personnel Management. Thank you, Chair.
So you make reference to Annexure 10. In Annexure 10, if you look at your fourth paragraph, which starts with kindly find attached.
Yes.
What does it read?
Kindly find attached the list of the newly recruited officers for your action.
Do we have visibility on the number of officers involved and whether they make up the 155 million? In the evidence before us, because that is what you're supposed to prove. If it's 155 million without personal numbers, I thought the easier thing would have been to attach that letter that you had sent to the principal secretary, the listing, and then we see if they all account for 155 million, we can mark it as work in progress. Otherwise, what we have now is a story.
I agree, Chair. We could provide that list. That should have. We thought that the letter would suffice, but we can provide
but
that
you can
list.
see the letter refers to something else that is more substantive.
Yeah.
It's a list that is the substance here.
Yeah.
But there's also a manual payroll of 85 million and a casual payroll of 70 million. In your response, you have not distinguished the two. Why you have a manual payroll and a casual payroll and, you know.
And Chair, in addition, the number of staff that
make up either
manual payroll of 85,202,776 and casual payroll, which is 70,338,749. And we have seen counties when they pay casual, sometimes they say for municipalities and they give how they pay, the ID number, their job group and the amount they pay, so that we dissuade the issue of ghost workers or workers that are not supposed to be appearing, of 155,541,525. And it, in fact, in the observation, there is a manual Excel sheet which the OAG extracted this information. So I expected the county to provide that for easy tracking, and one of this 155, 541, 525 on this 85,202,776 for the manual payroll and casual payroll of 70,338,749, so that it comes up to governor to 155,541,525. So if there is a manual Excel sheet that gives total to this, it would have been easy to resolve this audit query. So, Governor, where is the manual Excel sheet?
I mean, it's not small money. It's about 13 million a month, isn't it? 13. It's about 13 million a month. So it's not pocket change. It's quite significant. And I thought to account for this, it would have been just easy to say these are the people we have on the manual payroll. These are the people we have in the casual payroll. This is a total amount, and then you give us the story about the mitigating circumstances. failure to which we could easily come to the conclusion that you are pocketing 12 million a month on unaccounted for employees. You see, you are doing great things up there, trying to rationalize your numbers, but then down here, you are still having control issues, which then make a mockery of your rationalization efforts.
Chair, our understanding was that the audit query here was, you know, the reason why we have these figures outside the system, because the figure, I mean, the list of the casual payroll and the manual payroll was actually shared with the auditors. I mean, it's how they generated these figures is from the information and the documents that we gave. So our understanding was that the query was really to explain why they were not in the HRIS as opposed to the exact details, but it's something that we can actually provide.
Governor, let's be clear, the auditor has their time for audit, and it's statutory. I think, did we change the law so that it starts earlier than September?
Yes, there's a Treasury circular that requires that financial statements be submitted by 31st August so that we start on 1st September.
1st of September. So from 1st of September to 31st of December, it is a time for the auditor to do the audit. After that, the Constitution requires them to bring the reports to Parliament. So now it is for this, to the satisfaction of Parliament, not the satisfaction of the Auditor General. So I think this is a matter that we cannot resolve on the face of it. And members, since we have so many issues that still require further explanation, I think today we have stretched quite a bit. In our next engagement, we'll make sure we start much earlier so that we don't leave any matter hanging.
Maybe on the 155 million, 541,525, I thought it is important that the governor brings the evidence that totals to this.
Yes.
So that the fact that the rationalization of 3.3 billion, so that we don't go back to where individuals who are not supposed to be on payroll, like ghost workers or people who do not work, or the cleanup. Governor, because you had indicated you did cleanup of the payroll system, but the fact that in the payroll, there is still people who are paid through manually, and we know manual is prone to abuse. So can you dissuade us? And I think, Chair, as you rule on this matter of we hold it there, I think the issue of 155 million should and must be addressed and accounted for the way they have done in other aspects where we needed that has not been resolved. And I think, Chair, if you look even at prior year matters, sorry for taking back, this matter still recurs in the previous financial years that has been captured. And Governor, we did advise the OAG to be capturing prior year matters so that it is easy to track. So, Chair, I yield back, Chair, on the, because I know the meeting will be suspended shortly, is if on the issue of projects, I tend to agree with you that you can come to Nandi. We'll welcome you warmly. We see most of these projects so that when we are querying the projects, we are on site. I think it is easier that way rather than sitting here in the committee. So please feel welcome so that we can see some of these projects. And I can assure you, after doing a good job, you will not miss Mursik after the entire process. Chair, I yield.
Thank you. You brought me to where I wanted us to be, to discuss and to give directions that the unresolved prior year matters that are listed as Appendix 1 in this auditor's report, they also require your response. Because, Auditor, did we get responses on Appendix 1 from the entity?
Chairman, we did not get a response. The Office of the Auditor General wrote to the entity on the 22nd of January 2026, and the letter was received. That letter was documenting a total of 57 recommendations which this committee had made. Again, we did a reminder on the 23rd of March 2026, and the letter was received. That letter was copied to the County Assembly, to the CEC, Finance, and to the Office of the County Governor. But, Great Chairman, we don't have a response to those issues. Thank you.
Okay, Governor, you've had correspondence direct from the Auditor General on the basis of resolutions of the Senate, not once but twice, but there's been no response. Are you aware of those correspondences?
Yes, I am, Chair. And we...
What is, because there are timelines, If the matters remain unresponded to, they'll keep populating your report. Because nothing will disappear from this report until and unless there is a resolution through the Office of the Auditor General and the Senate. Auditor, when did you require them to, what timelines did you give them to respond?
And we had given them 3 days from the date of that letter.
Now, Governor, you need to make sure that a response is provided, and if the auditor had given you 3 days then I think we might, we don't want to extend the time, but when we give you the notice for our next meeting, we hope, we will also be directing that you file your responses on prior year matters. Yeah, I think that's so that we don't set fresh timelines. Already the auditor gave you timelines which have lapsed. So prior to our next meeting, you will also provide a detailed response on the very many issues that are listed here. On a chart, there were about 14 issues, almost 14 issues in just one department. There were things that the people of Nandi might wonder how they disappeared from the Senate. So, for example, the County Aggregation Industrial Park, it's a prior year matter, but it's also in the current year. Ineligible expenditure under Kenyan Formal Settlement Improvement Project. I think there's KISIP queried and KDSP had also been queried. Then there were all these projects that you're doing, which made a lot of sense from agricultural value chain and value addition perspective, but there were delays in completion. For example, Avocado Aggregation Center, the Nandi Cooperative Creameries in Kabiet. I think there was a coffee mill project under the KDSP, and then there was delayed operationalization of Nandi County Textile and Apparel Unit. They sound, thematically, they sound like very, very good projects, but good projects poorly delivered is a bad project. So we will need to get your detailed responses on this, even though they were not part of the substantive issues in here. There were also hospitals. Kapsengere has been queried in this report. Mother and Child Hospital. There's also the issue of the governor's office building, where you have bought furniture before completing the building, like buying airtime before you get the phone. So we will need to find out what was the wisdom of doing that and whether it is prudence. Then I think those are some of the things that we should ensure do not get lost until they are completed, until they are delivered, and until there is value for money. With that, members, unless there is any other matter you want us to deal with.
I think in the previous one on unconfirmed purchase of office furniture and general equipment, in the prior year, it was not unconfirmed. In this year, it was confirmed purchased, but the justification to buy it before the governor's headquarters is complete, because we want the next governor, be it me, to have an office work from. And you know, I'm used to how efficient offices are in Nairobi, so I want the best office in Kapsabet. Although I've seen my brother governor has been changing colors of paint, but I want him to fast track. I've seen he has put capros, fencing, but it needs to be finished before the next general election, which is less than 1 year.
You sound like you are an interested party in this particular subject.
Of course I should be, because I'm the protector of devolution, and one way is to have a functional, convenient, working office. Even for a governor, if he finishes now, before he leaves office, so be it, so that that efficiency can be improved for service delivery.
I think members, these are things that might require us to have boots on the ground. It would be nice for us to go just have a look, and I think I'm convinced that maybe our next interaction with the governor probably should not be Nairobi. It should be out there in Nandi, so that we go around these projects, all these agricultural projects, and see whether what is on paper is the same as what is on the ground. I think with that, we will, time will not allow us to go further. I will ask the governor if he has any matters in closing before we also make our closing remarks.
Chair, I think I would just join my senator in saying, I think, visiting the ground and coming to see some of these projects makes a lot of sense. Again, a lot of progress has happened. A lot of those projects have actually been operationalized. I want to confirm to my senator, we should have declared conflict of interest on that matter a little bit, or interest that he hopes that he can be the next tenant in the county headquarters, that I will have used it at least for
Governor,
6 months.
Ambition cannot be conflict. It would only be conflicted if it was a service provider. Yeah, but so, proceed.
Yeah, I want to confirm to him that I hope that I will also be able to use that office. Actually, part of the office is being used now. I am sure in another 1 month or so I should be, and if you find favor in visiting our county, basically that is where we will receive you. But Chair, I have noted all the issues that have come up in this engagement, and I confirm and I want to commit to address and abide by the directions this committee will provide. Thank you, Chair.
In the interest of time, we will donate our time to Senator Cherargei for the closing remarks.
Chair, maybe just in closing is that those issues that we have flagged, I hope it can be addressed once and for all, so that my prayer, Chair, has been always every entity or every governor in office should ensure that they finish what they are doing, so that when the next session comes, it will be easy to manage. And Governor, you have to agree with me that at least everybody should finish what they are doing, so that when another regime comes, we don't want to see what you are trying to allude yesterday in Kabuliot in Moiben sub-county. Secondly, Chair, you have noted in terms of materiality, this, I have been tallying the amount that remain variant and unresolved. It comes to almost over 1.6 billion. These issues, and I know we would have gone even to the legal expenditure, contingent liabilities, the issue of pending bills, the issue of retention money, the issue of variance in employees and what have you. We really want to ensure that this 1.6 billion plus will be resolved, and ensure that the people of Nandi can pinpoint. On the issue of projects, I agree that when we visit, Chair, we can create a circuit, because like Kapsengera is next to Vihiga and Kisumu. We can do within Kapsabet town, just to sample a view, even defined, if we can do it with Wazingishu, Chepteroi sub-county, when we are doing the Wazingishu, because that is near, Chair, and a number of other projects. It would be very important, including the one you have alluded to, Kapsabet County Referral Hospital. We were with the Committee of Health, and then, but we were looking at the services that is provided by county, but it's important that we can visit some of these projects. So I believe, Chair, that let us go on the ground and look at some of these projects, be it the ECD, be it the health sector, Chair, and many others. So Chair, I really want to see these things complete. And Governor, all these multi-year, this is your last year in office, these multi-year projects should and must be completed, so that we begin in a clean slate and give value for our people. If, personally, I don't have a problem, Chair, if Governor ensures that Chepteroi Sub-County Hospital Phase 3 is completed and functional, we say amen. If other projects within the county, Kapsengera and the rest, even I used to see is one, the Kobujai, where is local trading center, be completed and functional and people can access services, we want that to be completed. So, Chair, mine is just to say that, and hope to see you in Nandi, I know you are our neighbor. I hope to see you in Nandi, and if we can do most of these things, our people in Nandi will appreciate. And to welcome my brother Mo Fire. I know he has been fidgeting. You know, the reason today he has not been speaking is what he has been observing over the weekend. But I want to assure him and to assure Professor Kindiki we are with him until end time. So maybe governor has a different opinion, but we will cross that bridge when we reach there. Chair, with those many remarks, allow me to rest there and yield back the
Thank you, Senator. I think just to conclude it, we were not able to deal with issues on the receiver of revenue, even though the brief we got earlier from the Parliamentary Budget Office also shows that there is a problem there. When you look at certain revenue streams, like land rates are reducing, parking fees is reducing significantly, market fees, property rent, such that the 771 million that Nandi collected, were it not for hospital fees of 385 million, then perhaps the performance of Nandi from a revenue perspective would be described to be much below average. But we shall have this discussion when we come down to Nandi and also deal with the other projects. And I hope by that time, the issues of financial reporting, misrepresentation and misstatement, we hope that that will not recur in the audit cycle that is beginning now. For the professionals, please, please take your jobs a bit seriously, because the politicians, the governors will come and go. It's just the other day that Senator Sang became Governor Sang, and it's now 10 years. But as a professional, you should make sure that you offer a service that can transcend the political leadership. And you can only do that if you demonstrate utmost competence. I think keeping books in a county government, once you've got the CPA certification, should not be a challenge. And I'm looking forward to a future where we will be crying when you get a qualified opinion, you feel like hanging yourself. Because that's how it is in the private sector. You're supposed to have an unqualified opinion. A qualified opinion is not a badge of honor. It is an indicator that as a professional, you are falling short in certain areas. So in as much as we will push the governors as the CEOs, we will not hesitate to assign professional and individual culpability and responsibility to the professionals who fail to measure up to the standards. With that, we come to the end of today's session. This meeting is adjourned. We meet tomorrow at 9. At
9, okay. 9 is okay.
Yeah, by notice, as you will notify us.
Yes, Chair.
Thank you. We wish you a safe journey back to Nandi.